My name is Kiri Callaghan and you're watching Kiriosity, the vlog where we get nerdy on geek culture. We delve, we investigate, we basically pull a Sherlock. So you may have noticed I've been going to a lot of conventions lately, which is awesome and fantastic. It was great talking to you guys about what your geeky origin story was and walking around PAX and just awesome. Unfortunately, I gained the ever magnificent con plague. Really makes me wish I had Wolverine's whole healing factor thing, actually. I mean, that guy never gets sick. Can you imagine never getting sick? Of course, I'd want it on my own, not through, like, the creepy electromagnetic nightmare that was Magneto's machine that tried to, like, mutate all the world's leaders. However, if a transgenic solution was created that involved a less, volatile result on my molecular structure, I'd be totally down. We're gonna talk a little bit about genetic engineering. A transgene is essentially a gene or genetic material which has been transferred from one organism to another, either naturally or by genetic modification. We actually see a ton of this in geek fiction, whether it's movies or comic books, running rampant. Spider-Man and the genetically modified spiders, Halo, Spider-Man getting bit and somehow having those genetic codes transfer through that bite. BioShock, like a vampire. Vampires! Metal Gear Solid. Jurassic Park? I mean, you're taking ancient dino DNA and using frog DNA to fill all the gaps so that you can create a once extinct species. Actually, when you look at it that way, not really, but kinda. Jurassic Park is sort of like using an insanely intense version of gene therapy to cure extinction. Gene therapy, as we know it today, is an extremely invasive procedure which involves genetically engineered retroviruses. These viruses can be used to carry a gene or a tiny strand of DNA. The goal being that it will overwrite the infected cells and fix them in about the same manner they were originally damaged. The concept of gene therapy was first conceived in 1972, with insistence that extreme caution be used before it was ever attempted on humans. So fast forward 18 years to 1990, where here in the United States, the very first FDA-approved gene therapy treatment happened. Ashanti De Silva, only 4 years old at the time, suffered from a severe immune deficiency. A man by the name of William French Anderson and his team extracted blood from Ashanti and replaced the defective gene with a functional variant. With injections every 2 months of corrected T cells, Ashanti's immune system is partially restored. While this is a therapy and not a cure, she's able to live a normal life. Another really cool way that gene therapy is currently used is to use retroviruses to target the DNA of regular viruses. For instance, the cancer virus produces a protein called CD47, which essentially acts as a kind of psychic paper in that the immune system sees whatever the heck it wants instead of the virus, and the virus goes on unattacked. However, gene therapy can reprogram that virus to ditch that protein. So the immune system sees that the jig is up and can freely obliterate the cancer. Transgenics and gene therapy are only used to eliminate diseases at this point in time. Now this method is sort of still in its infancy. It's run into a lot of failures and a lot of ethical conundrums about the idea of being able to pick a trait such as gender, strength, you name it. Can you imagine your parents deciding exactly what you'd look like and be able to do before you were even born? Kind of like that really crappy genetic code thing in Man of Steel. But you know what? It has the potential to completely revolutionize how we deal with genetic disorders. In the last several years, gene therapy has been used to successfully treat multiple diseases, including chronic and acute lymphomic leukemia and Parkinson's, which has severely boosted people's optimism towards this treatment. In fact, a particular treatment, which will be commonly known as Gilbera, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, will be the first ever gene therapy treatment approved for clinical use. All thanks to an endorsement by the European Commission. Awesome work, guys. Seriously. This is really exciting. Gilbera is expected to roll out for commercial use later this year, so any day now. Regrettably, it's going to have a price tag of $1.6 million, making it the most expensive drug in the world. Yikes. So bearing that in mind, put a pin in it. Let's hop over to Istanbul, not Constantinople, where you may have heard that a litter of fluorescent bunnies were born. What? How? So jellyfish have a protein in them that emits a light when it comes in contact with ultraviolet light. Turns out, by inserting the gene code for that protein into mammals' DNA, scientists have been able to make glowing dogs, pigs, cats, and mice. Why? The jellyfish gene adds a very obvious change. This way you can tell if the genetic material transferred successfully. For example, Mayo Clinic researchers genetically engineered cats to carry a protein that will defend against infection from the feline immunodeficiency virus, or FIV. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is kitty cat HIV. They combined this with the fluorescent gene so they could tell which cat successfully carried the protective protein, a trait that would otherwise be completely invisible. What scientists are hoping is that the rabbits will produce protein as well. Then re-engineered rabbits could manufacture molecules that biologists could collect from the female's milk. Producing medicines using rabbits could be a lot less expensive than using factories. So it's possible that gene therapy won't always be toting around a $1.6 million price tag. So what does this all mean? First and foremost, it means that science is awesome. Secondly, it tells us that genetic diseases are something we're making insane progress on conquering. And thirdly, these bunnies were modified pre-birth, which means they injected the jellyfish gene into an embryo, which means we could beat genetic diseases before a baby's even born. Admittedly, this is all way into the future, but can you imagine where we could be in another 18 years? I know this is gonna seem really cheesy, but I'm really excited for the future. And I'm really excited about who we're gonna help in the future. And maybe it'll be too late for some people, but it'll arrive just in time for so much more. Or we could take this knowledge, find some ancient dinosaur DNA, grab a frog, and make John Hammond's dream a reality. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. With a horizon of endless possibilities ahead of us, where would you like to see this go? Where do you think it should go? Or do you think we shouldn't be meddling around in genetics at all? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're still hungry for knowledge, check out Dale Kingsmill's vlog, where she retells Greek myths in a way that only Dale can. Or, if you're ready to take all this knowledge and put it into a story of your own, check out Nika Harper with Wordplay. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, stay curious.